everybody. Welcome back to the Marketing Box podcast. Today, we are having another Meet the Team interview. I am introducing you to Peter Collins. He is one of our newer software developers, and we're so excited to have him as a part of our team. Peter, how are you?
Yeah, I'm great. Thanks for having me, Shannon.
So let's tell everybody, where are you from?
So I'm from South Coast, Massachusetts, and I currently live in Providence, Rhode Island.
And this is your first time in Louisiana, huh?
Yeah, it is.
When we first met Peter, he said, wow, it kind of feels like summer outside. It's December, and it's 70-something degrees today. It's been 70 degrees all week, so sorry that there's no cold, and there's a storm coming. So the humidity is even higher than what it normally is.
Yeah, that's fine. I mean, honestly, like the weather is so nice and balmy here. I don't know, it's like the perfect, where I'm from, like the perfect late August summer day, just every day so far,
That's
including
funny,
the storms.
because it's December. It's supposed to be cold. So what was your first impression of Louisiana?
Really flat, a lot of really cool marshes actually. On the Uber over here, I just kept grilling my driver about, different things. I'm like, okay, so if I were to go out and explore the marshes south of New Orleans, would anybody stop me? And then he told me that there was a terrible undercurrent. So nobody would stop me, but, it would sweep me out to the ocean.
Yeah, Peter was joking about going swimming in Lake Pontchartrain, and we said maybe you shouldn't go swimming in there. There are rivers that we do go swimming in that are still it's brown, muddy water, but we still do it. But yeah, I would not recommend going swimming right there. There's a little beach, but yeah, it's just.
All right, maybe it's better that I didn't bring a swimming suit.
Questionable things would be found in that water. And so, guys, tomorrow we're going back to New Orleans, where you first came in, where you flew into, and we're having our Christmas lunch. So we're excited to show you more of the city.
Yeah, it'd be nice to see it, actually, instead of just, airport to highway to Mandeville.
Yeah. You definitely will. And then we're going to the Roosevelt, so it's going to be beautiful. I'm excited to see it because I have yet to go during Christmas. I can't believe I've never been. Yeah. So let's get into. You were explaining a little bit to me, but let's unpack this. So you didn't really study like computer programming or computer science. So it's something that just kind of you took on. Let's go back to what you studied in college, how you found your way into computer programming and all of that.
Yeah, sure. So in college, I actually studied German and Russian language. I got really deep into German, actually, to the point of studying Old English. And then I did take an Old Norse class. That was pretty interesting. And but my actual degree is in 20th century European history. So I
didn't even know that you could get a degree in that. Like, I just thought that was something that, I don't know.
Yeah.
Wow.
I went to kind of like a free-form school, not really major tracks where you have specific classes that you have to take.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Okay. Yeah, that explains it. Because at LSU, we have it's not required, but it's suggested like an 8-month semester plan. So these are the classes that you should be taking each semester, and then you could take on electives on top of those.
Yeah, but my capstone thesis was about Eastern European popular resistance against the Soviet regime, specifically comparing the 1956 uprising in Hungary, which was brutally quashed, to the Solidarity, trade union movement in Poland in 1980. And the funny thing is, when I was about 95% done with this, I actually found a paper on this exact topic that did it so much better and so much more concise, so much more intelligent. And, thankfully it's just an undergrad project, basically.
Oh, okay. That's interesting, though, that you were able to point that out.
Yeah.
Yeah, we are our own biggest critics. So how long after? You studied that all the way until your senior year?
Yeah, pretty much. I mean, I bounced around a little bit in the first couple of years, not really knowing what I was going to study. German was pretty much a big part of it. Actually, just because there was this girl that I was really into was taking German, and she's like, oh, you should take German. So I did. But yeah, but then I went like all into German, and we studied abroad in Germany for a semester, and after that I just got really, really serious about school. I just realized like I'm in a place where I could essentially do whatever I want, like I could study all these things and get all this exposure to stuff that I'll just probably never get again. So, I went really hardcore, just taking like 6 classes per semester and, trying to get as much out of it as I could.
That's awesome. Yeah, so you definitely took advantage of it while you still had it.
Yeah, well, I really wanted to take a ballroom dancing class, actually.
Oh, that would have been really fun.
Yeah.
You didn't end up getting to take one?
No, I didn't. But I did learn salsa dancing, though. There's a great club in Cambridge called Club Havana that one of my friends took me to. I didn't dance the first time, but after that, I got into it.
I love that you're not afraid to try new things. Like, you just don't care. You're like, you know what? This seems interesting and fun. Let me do it.
Yeah.
That's a lot like, here we always talk about, too, any crazy ideas. Like, we're not afraid to sit there and talk about our dreams and what we want to do and what we want to accomplish. Like, we have our dream board out there, which we have to do yours now. Oh, wait, he has to present his dreams for the next 3 to 5 years. I'm very curious to see where you want to end up.
All right, yeah, So
after you went really hard your last few semesters in college, when did you decide that you wanted to do computer science?
Well, I never really decided, actually. I just kind of fell into it.
Huh.
Yeah. And I'm really glad that I did, as a matter of fact. Yeah. So my original plan was to go work in the State Department. And, I graduated right around, like, the Ukraine, Crimea crisis. And I had studied Russian, so I was thinking, Putin just got me a job. So, I went for the Foreign Service Officer test, and then I failed, which is pretty typical, And then I thought about it, and I realized that I wanted to work in government, but not necessarily in the State Department. And I had wanted to move to Boston for a while, because that's just what people do. They grow up and then they move to Boston and get a job. So I did, and I got a job doing, like web development and system administration for the Boston Public Library. And, I loved it so much, like the people and the job and, just the quality of service and the legitimate care that they have for the library patrons. I stayed there for 6.5 years and left on really good terms, actually. So that's.
But like, who taught you how to do all of this stuff? Or was it self-taught?
Yeah, it was a bit self-taught.
Wow.
I did take some electives in college about web development. So I've been sort of making my own websites in various, mostly naive forms since I was a kid. My good friend Tim sort of got me into that with like the GeoCities sites and everything. So I've sort of been into it, but then.
So this has been like a passion of yours for quite some time.
Yeah, it was an on and off passion, sort of like folding origami, for example. I was really into origami as a kid, and, I don't do it too much these days, but every so often I like to sit down and, make something really cool.
Interesting.
Yeah, but yeah, as far as web development goes, I was doing it more professionally at the library, and during that time in Boston, I got into DIY biology, and I joined a community lab called the Boss Lab, and I'm still a member of it. Actually, just before coming here, I went to a Christmas party there.
Oh, that's fun.
Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah, but I realized that a lot of the data that these small labs produce is really hard to get to, just unnecessarily hard. So, for example, the Boss Lab, they went around and they took soil samples and got them sequenced. But, for me to get that data as a member, I had to reach out to a guy who could give me access to the Google Drive, who had since moved to France. And then I finally got it. And, I've been into BitTorrent sites for a number of years, so I decided to sort of blend those two and make my own BitTorrent tracker for biology data. And that really, having that project gave me sort of a vehicle to do some like more and more advanced self-directed learning.
Huh.
Yeah.
Wow. So would you say that like you like to learn new things? You like to sit down and really figure out how something works? Is that something that...
That's fair to say, yeah. I've taken apart a lot of carburetors in my time.
Interesting. So you worked for the library for what did you say, like 6 years, 9 years?
6.5.
6.5 years. So what got you here? What brought you to our company?
Well, like the glory of Boston definitely wore off pretty quickly. And after a few years, I was just there because I'm like, okay, I live in Boston. This is where I am. And, when the pandemic hit, we were working from home. And then, I just got the opportunity to leave Boston and, be with my family for just months at a time. A few times I even worked at my grandparents' beach house.
Oh,
and,
cool.
I just went swimming for lunch. And I realized I was just so happy doing that and, not just commuting through this huge crowd back and forth every day. And, if anybody's from Boston, like, kind of rude.
Oh, the Boston people?
Yeah.
What are they like compared to us?
Well, one of the things that that excites me about Peter is the first conversation Sean and him had together. And Sean has told me this on multiple occasions. He said this cat had already researched and looked into the company and was kind of giving feedback back. So one of the questions that I thought would be very interesting in this, as far as like, look, so you looked us up, obviously, and you looked us up in a different way than a lot of people look up companies, because you know how to look in the back end of shit and you understand what's going on with a lot of things that people will look on the surface, but you dig a little bit deeper. So kind of go into that a little bit about, when you were making this decision and even that conversation you had with Sean and how you, led you to the point you are here, because you are one of the newest members of the team. This is your first time here meeting everybody. And it's, it's exciting for us because they're like, all right, new friends, new family. That's kind of how we treat everything. And I'm sure coming because we are a very Southern culture, Southern based, we got a lot of different, virtues here that aren't necessarily conventional in a regular business. So I'm just curious as to, even having your thoughts while they're still fresh in your mind, because you're student, kind of new to it, on how you think about that.
Yeah, well, I mean, I like to know what I'm getting into, all right? So I actually did meet Dave first, and I don't know, we had a really good conversation, just, a bit of high-level stuff, a bit of the nitty-gritty, and, I had done my homework before interviewing with Dave, but, we had probably just like a solid hour of free-form conversation, just about everything, like the pros and cons of using such a well-supported and respected and high-quality framework as Laravel, which is what our software is built on, to cybersecurity, to a bit of project management. I'm not a project manager person, so at the time I had just started using these Kanban sort of boards on GitHub for my side project, where you can track what's to do, what's in progress, what's done. So, Dave and I had a great conversation, and I thought his focus on cybersecurity was really important because, I'm very into cybersecurity. Like everything I do, I always try to make it as secure as possible. And, I'll write some code and then I'll think, okay, how would I exploit this? And then I try to exploit it. Yeah. And then I talked with Sean. He was actually traveling at the time, so we had kind of a brief conversation. But, yeah, he really sold me. Like, his heart's in the right place. He's got a lot of ideas.
Mm-hmm.
Some of them work, some of them don't. Some of them could work in a specific context, but just having somebody who's always coming out with these ideas for improvement
Mm-hmm.
is really important. And Sean's a good guy for that. And yeah, and the code base especially, like there's not really a lot of cruft. So the stuff that's there is done quite well, I'd say, based on other code that I've seen, which especially written in PHP can really get ugly really fast. But that's not the case here. So when Sean comes out with an idea, it's like I'm not fighting against inertia to make it happen. It's so much easier to build new stuff on top of it.
So what ended up really attracting you to our team, though, and coming here? What were you most excited about, I guess?
Honestly, probably Dave.
Dave?
Yeah, definitely
Aw,
Dave.
we're going to have to tell Dave that. That's sweet. Yeah, Dave does a really good job of explaining things. I feel like he's a really good foundation for all of our developers, especially just because we're all spread out, So,
Yeah, I find Dave doesn't dilly-dally a whole lot. He cuts straight to the point.
Yeah, he doesn't
not a whole lot of
dilly-dally.
fluff.
No, but he's sensible. Like, he knows what needs to be done, and he makes it really, really fun and easy to get it done, actually. And his feedback is always constructive, always politely delivered. So when I submit code for him to review, like he'll tell me to change it, which is fine, so it falls in with the rest of the code. But the things that he asked me to change, they're not nitpicking. They're just ensuring that the code base is as high quality and consistent as possible.
That's one thing that we don't, which is I really admired about our team too. Nobody really micromanages you. We all work together, and it works so well.
Yeah.
So now that you've met everybody, what's your impression? What's your take? I mean, we have so many different personalities that it's like, what's your?
Are you ready to run for the hills?
We scare
Head back
you?
north, get out.
Run for the hills now. Yeah, I don't know. I legitimately enjoy the company of everybody I've met. I know this is much more of a hands-on team building kind of week. So it's been a lot. Like, go to the office, do this kind of stuff, then go out for dinner. But I feel like I'm not forced into some kind of like stodgy corporate event where I'm just like, oh, okay, I have to tolerate these people to keep up appearances. Like, I enjoy going out to dinner with you guys every night,
Oh, that's good. Good.
Yeah, you were offering me, if you just want to skip it and explore on your own, I'm just like, no. I want to try a po' boy.
I want to try. Yeah. How was that po' boy? It was like as big as your head.
Yeah.
I know.
It was good.
We were joking with Peter. Look, you might gain a little bit of weight while you're in Louisiana for a week because a lot of our food is deep fried. But you have to try it all while you're here.
Yeah. Well, I was pleasantly surprised by alligator, actually.
It was good, huh? It kind of tastes like chicken. I think
I've
never
really savory though.
Yeah, see, I think that was just a blackened one. I don't.
Yeah, we're gonna take you down the street too to show you the live alligators that just live in the pond right like a 2 blocks away from here today too, so you can kind of see that.
So we've talked about your past and your present. What's in the future for Peter Collins? What are you hoping to accomplish?
Well, I guess short term, I really want to start working out again. Yeah, so before the pandemic, there was this glorious time where I'd bike 3 miles to work, go to work, bike 3 miles back, but on the way, there was a calisthenics park. So, especially in the summer, I'd do a circuit that was a set of push-ups, 10-second L-sit, as many pull-ups as I could do, and a handstand against a tree, and usually maybe like 3 to 5 of those triangle push-ups.
Okay.
and then I just like climb up a tree really fast and then jump down. And I would do that, 3 times in a row, and then bike back, and then get home and do a yoga stretch. So it's a bit different working from home. But I really want to get back into that.
Into creating that kind of schedule too. Yeah. It's
Yeah.
really hard at first, but then after your body craves that, and then you feel weird when you don't do it. Well, that's an awesome goal to have. We need to put that up on the dream board.
All right. Yeah.
What else? Is there anything else? Maybe near future, long term?
Yeah. Well, I'd like to go sailing a lot more next summer. So this past summer, it was kind of weird because I did move to a new apartment, and I'm pretty bad about moving into places. Like, I'll get my stuff there really slow, maybe over a series of like 2 weeks to a month, and then it'll just stay sort of boxed for however many months. So, a lot of my summer was dealing with that because I'm not a fast mover. So I didn't sail as much as I wanted to. Plus, I was sort of doing my thing in Providence, and my sailboat is down in South Coast Massachusetts. So
Who taught you how to sail? Your dad?
no, my uncle David taught me how to sail. Yeah, he used to have a Beetle Cat, which is, well, I guess it's local to me, but it's like this all wooden small sailboat. It's really cool, actually. But I have a Vanguard 420, which it's like a 16-foot racing boat. It can fit 2 adults. Pretty nice. It goes really fast, and we've actually had it for a really long time. So we bought it used from a local sailing program called Community Boating, maybe like 15 or 20 years ago, and had a lot of fun on that sailboat.
And what's some of your hobbies? You have such fun hobbies. I feel like already that you've talked about. What else? I feel like there's so much more.
Yeah. Sometimes I like to say that I have more hobbies than a recent divorcee. Never married. But yeah, so recently I started dipping my toe into electronics, which is actually something Dave and I have in common. Like wiring up Arduinos and stuff. And I got into it with video game console modding, which is interesting because I don't really play video games.
Interesting, yeah.
Yeah, I mentioned origami.
Sailing. Biking and working out.
Yeah, biking and working out. I really like caring for trees. So one of my sort of ongoing projects at my grandparents' beach house is to, I've been like planting trees and really doing a lot of the landscape type gardening. And so I did plant a cherry tree, 2 pawpaw trees. I don't know if you know what pawpaws are.
I don't.
Oh, well, it's like almost like a tropical fruit, almost kind of like a mango, actually, but it grows up north.
Okay.
It's like a native to sort of New England to Georgia, I think. And it's kind of an emo tree, actually. It's short, and it's got these really straight branches, and kind of grayish bark, and then it's got these like blood red flowers that dip down, and then it has these enormous leaves. The leaves are just huge.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah.
Pretty.
But it's like
show me a picture.
Yeah, it's like a tropical fruit that just like grows in New England.
Interesting.
Yeah.
So, Peter, is there anything that I haven't asked you that you would really like to talk about? Like, what else is there to know about Peter?
I don't know.
Maybe, okay, so you've tried a lot of things in your lifetime. What's some of the things that you can take away from that? Like, what's some of your lessons that you've learned?
So I've had a lot of jobs in food service, which I try not to remember because it's so terrible. But, my grandma did tell me something really insightful, and she said, basically, whatever you do in your life, you're always going to be taking lessons from it that you can apply to other aspects of your life. So even just, not discounting like all the dishwashing and all that kind of grunt work. When I started at the library, she reminded me, well, okay, you know how to deal with the general public, and you know how to keep busy and always be productive and this kind of stuff, which it was a pretty raw deal, actually, because I told her how to open a cereal bag, and you open it by the corner. So yeah,
I love your grandmother already.
yeah, she's great.